Hi, I'm Brandon. I love Hallmark Christmas movies.
I'm Brian. I like Hallmark Christmas movies.
I'm Dan, and I despise Hallmark Christmas movies.
And I'm V, and I also love Hallmark Christmas movies.
And this is the Deck the Hallmark podcast.
Deck the Hallmark, it's his podcast.
Brandon and friends host this podcast. We hope you like this jolly podcast.
Wow, hello
boy.
everybody. V's in the house.
By popular
Yayo.
demand. Oh my goodness.
V, under the desk news, back with another Christmas. It's a Christmas tradition at this point.
Yeah,
2
it
years
is.
2
makes
years
it a
ago
Christmas
makes a
tradition.
Christmas tradition. That's
Last
accurate.
year, V, you did the live streaming at the Macy's Thanksgiving Parade.
Brandon's not forgiving you.
Did.
And I've never been more jealous of anyone in my entire life. Was it magical getting to walk through the parade?
Yes, it was the most magical experience of my life, and I knew it was going to be a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, truly. And so I tried to just remember every sensation, like how cold it was, what did it smell like, what did I see first?
What did it smell like?
It smelled like people, mostly. Smelled like folks running around, checking on balloons and such, and hot dogs. But, that's New York City for you.
It's New York City.
And there's nowhere more magic at Christmas time.
I
But
love
it was, quite lovely. I'll take those memories with me this year.
So many people asked if you were coming back this year, and so we're thankful you're here. Last year you did Holiday Spectacular with us. This year you're doing Holiday Hotline. Why do you hate Christmas?
Whoa! Oh, because both those are holiday.
Yeah.
Why are you waging a war on Christmas?
Yeah,
How
that's a great
dare you?
question.
I just am a non-binary person and a non-binary thinker. And so I like to say holiday so that everybody feels included, so that we're not just jumping between maybe Christmas or Hanukkah. It's everything in between. The holidays are a spectrum, much like everything else in life.
Holidays are a spectrum.
It's like we planned that answer
question didn't
beforehand.
even deserve an answer.
That was
unbelievable.
That was beautiful.
I was
That
trying
was
one of
maybe the
those
fastest
gotcha
thinking I've ever done.
questions, and instead V answered it honestly.
V's a
Like
pro
Julie
because
Gillette.
V does under the desk news. For folks that maybe didn't hear you on the show last year, what is under the desk news?
So Under the Desk is a TikTok, Instagram, YouTube account in which I basically just tell you what happened that day. I created a calm space for gentle news. There's no yelling, no screaming, no scary stuff, so that you can stay informed, get curious without feeling too overwhelmed. And I've got 3 million followers now. Won a couple of awards, humble brag. But I'm just grateful that people are there.
It's a wonderful
a great
source of
follow.
education.
Oh, yeah.
For me, little things I will catch from you, like when the Drew Barrymore thing happened during the strike, the way that you explained it, I was like, oh, that's a big deal. As someone living in South Carolina who isn't directly affected there, but wants to support people who, are trying to, earn an honest wage and all that good stuff, hearing that was wonderful. So I know the news is crazy right now, especially around the world. And so, for you to do that and be at a place that isn't scary at all, I think is really helpful. People should definitely check it out.
V, you texted me this year that you were going to Army.
I did go to Army,
went
and
to
I met
Army?
Navy photographer.
What was it like going to Army? Was it like how Hallmark portrays it?
Pretty close.
Yeah.
Pretty close. Last year we were watching the movie where she goes to Army, and we were like, there's no way. And also, who is Navy photographer? And then this year, yes, in fact, the Pentagon was like, we'd like you to come and observe the military, which is apparently a civilian duty of high regard, which was exciting. So I got to go meet them, but I literally went to Fort Moore, got to jump out of the platforms and learn about airborne school and how to shoot and what the everything that our military is doing out there for us, which is so incredible. And then at my next stop, I was at Kings Bay, which is Navy, and I met Navy photographer.
Wow.
They call it combat cam. It's called combat cam. It's not called Navy photographer, but I did continue to just under my breath be like Navy photographer.
Navy photographer.
Thank you, Navy
Of course.
photographer.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I was like, how'd you get out of Garland?
That's Garland for you. Before we dive in, Dan, I do want to talk. We don't often get physical mail, but I didn't want. This was important.
I don't. We got this sent in the mail to us from Linda Arink.
Actually, take notes, V. You might want to use this in
Linda Arink.
This is actually
sent
pretty
us a handwritten note that said, "Hi, Deck the Hallmark folks. I've enclosed this article about Jonathan Bennett because, wow, you just have to see this. So much information. Happy reading and love the podcast. Love it. Merry Christmas, Linda.
Thank you,
And
Linda.
she ripped out the page, nicely tore out the page of, I believe, People Magazine that has 25 things you didn't know about me.
Aaron, go to that Cam 3.
Jonathan
Can you go?
Bennett.
Oh, yeah, that's good. Look at that.
And she sent it to us. And we read this together in the office.
We did?
We learned a lot. And we were trying to think of the best way to respond.
Yeah.
And we didn't want to have to get out our letter. We've not written
Letterhead.
one.
We don't have letterhead.
And so we just want to tell you, Linda, this made our hearts sore. And so we hope you listen today because we all had a blast reading People Magazine and learning about our boy Jonathan Bennett.
This time of year, we get a lot of packages and we get a lot of Christmas cards. I think this is the first time anyone has ever sent us a torn out
People
page
Magazine.
from a People Magazine.
It's the first time ever.
So
it's the first time in 6
Thank
years
you, Linda.
we've gotten a letter like this. So Linda, you win today.
V, has anybody ever sent you a page from a magazine?
They haven't, and honestly, that's quite the gift because I think People Magazine is up to like $8 on the rack.
Yeah.
So she really did you a solid.
She
there.
read that and said, "I have to send this."
That's right.
Should we try to resell
That
it?
is the democratization of information.
That's right.
And that's what we're all about.
And this is the real copy. This isn't a print. This is the real
She didn't
deal.
print this off the website.
Because
Yeah.
on the back are
Here's
a
a bunch
lot
of
of
different
pictures of
Brad
Brad
Pitt,
Pitt,
that's
which
right.
I'm also not upset
Wow,
about.
Yeah.
that's a sacrifice.
Yeah.
That's a sacrifice.
Think
Thank
she
you,
wants
Linda.
it back?
Yeah.
She might
Linda,
want it
do you
back.
want it back? We'll send it.
Linda, we'll send it back.
but
We did read it all. We read all of it.
It's Brad Pitt.
A lot of Brad Pitt.
Well,
looks.
you guys are like gatekeeping the article now. What were your favorites? Your hot takes?
My favorite, the thing that helped me identify the most with Jonathan Bennett, I do feel like we're very similar people, but I never fully finish a drink in a can and leave dozens of half-drunk cans all
around
over
our
the house.
office.
Yeah.
That's me.
The one that got me that I couldn't believe is he said he's never finished a book. From start to finish, he's never read one, start to finish. That is, at this point, like that's impressive that you haven't done that.
Yeah.
Like,
it's a good streak.
You could not torture that information out of me. I would never admit that I hadn't read a book.
He offered that up to people, and that was like number 6. It wasn't like 25.
Like he's trying to think of something.
He threw that out early on, like he was proud of it, and I was like, he's ever read a book?
Yeah.
Like all the way through? That was impressive.
No one expects you to be pretty and smart,
That's
I guess.
right.
I mean, you gotta focus where you.
Man,
I usually sit to pee because I'm lazy.
see, I don't think that's lazy. I would disagree there. I think it takes more work.
you said it's
so
more
we
work,
can get
and
into it later.
yeah.
Do that. I in the middle of the night if I wake up. That's how I do it.
Okay, great.
I don't want to wake myself up too much.
This one I relate to. Number 17. Biggest pet peeve is listening to someone chew cereal. Anybody
Drives
chewing, drives me
Chewing
nuts.
cereal's tough there.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, thank
So
you,
we
Linda.
did learn some
Thanks,
stuff.
Linda.
Thank you, Linda.
Thank you, Linda. And V, if anybody wants to send you a magazine, do you have like a fan mail address?
I do. I have a P.O. box. It's P.O. Box 10310, Rochester, New York 14610.
I can't wait to see the magazines. that you get.
I would love to get Christmas cards from folks. What a delightful treat.
That's wonderful. Let's talk Holiday Hotline.
Let's.
It originally aired on November 19th, 2023. And if you didn't see it, it went a little something like this. The movie kicks off with a bunch of people having turkey catastrophes. We're introduced to the Holiday Hotline, a group of people that help with these food disasters over the phone. We meet Abby. She works for the hotline, but used to be a sous chef who worked with her boyfriend, her then boyfriend, who was also the head chef at the restaurant, but he betrayed her in work and in love. It's pretty tough. So she quits, and her parents gift her with tickets to the States so that they don't have to deal with their heartbreaking daughter over the holiday season. And so they send her to Chicago. Where better to send a Brit over the holidays than in Chicago? They sent her there, and she's like, I don't want to do any cooking for a long time. I don't want to do anything to do with cooking. We then meet single dad Jack, who is a lousy cook. Whenever he tries to cook, he just ends up ordering takeout anyway. He starts to help his daughter Jessica with homework. She needs to write about her favorite holiday tradition, but her favorite holiday tradition is Christmas dinner. Her mom passed away, and she used to crush Christmas dinner, and so now she's sad that she doesn't get to do her favorite Christmas tradition because her dad is such a bad chef. He feels awful and says, I'm going to figure out how to make a turkey, and I'm going to make it for Christmas dinner. The next day, he tells his brother that he's going to do Christmas dinner, and everyone's going to come over to his house for Christmas this year. His brother has his doubts. Jack and his brother are architects, and they go to an old apartment complex that they are renovating, and it's the same building that Abby moves into. Jack sees Abby break the doorknob, and he freaks out. This guy really likes old doors and does not appreciate what she's doing with this doorknob. He tells his brother he's feeling a little bit overwhelmed, so he decides that he's going to make a trial turkey on Thanksgiving, the day where turkeys don't matter. So let's do the trial run on Thanksgiving and kind of see how that goes. Margaret, who lives in the building, asks Abby for some turkey advice. Margaret is very impressed with this, and it turns out it was all a test because Margaret works for the holiday hotline and needs somebody to fill in for her while she is gone. She agrees, and she's really good at it. But people are hesitant to take advice about turkey from a British person, and so she decides to do an American accent and call herself Peggy. I'm Peggy. Jack calls, and he calls himself John. That is his given name, and so it's not a lie. He just doesn't like, when you meet me, I'm John, and when we become buddies, I'm Jack.
Yeah, John F. Kennedy went by Jack Kennedy with his friends. Pretty straightforward.
Thanks, Dan. He makes a dad joke, and she laughs really hard. Then things get really serious when he opens up about his wife passing. We find out that he didn't even know that his wife was sick until towards the very end. He ends the call promptly, leaving her feeling quite sad. Abby goes to find a replacement doorknob, and wouldn't you know it, she runs into Jack, and they hit it off a little bit better, but still the next day is Thanksgiving. Jack gives the hotline a call, hoping that he would connect with Peggy, and wouldn't you know it, he does. She tells him that she's willing to listen anytime he wants to call, and he takes her up on that offer and explains that the reason why the turkey is so important to him. The next day, she ends up going to a Christmas tree lot with a woman in her building that happens to be Jack's brother's fiance. So Jack is also there. So they spend some more time together. She hits it off with his daughter. He calls back to the hotline again. They connect. They make some bad turkey themed jokes and make plans to talk more. She gives him her work hours. So get married already. Are you kidding me? They're both very giddy about this. In real life, Jack and Abby are seeing each other more and more. They bicker per usual, but on the phone, Peggy and John, they're just smitten with each other. She opens up about her relationship drama that she just got out of. Jack and Abby walk around the market, though, at night, and they talk architecture. She then tells him that she's a chef, and then he opens up about, hey, I'm actually making a turkey, and I'm calling the hotline, and it all clicks for her. Jack is John. She freaks out immediately and calls for a cab. She feels so bad. She can't handle that she's been lying to this guy at a time like this where he's going through so much. So Jack talks to his brother about how he's liking two people, a voice on a phone and a real life woman. And he's like, I don't feel like this should be that hard. You should go with the real life woman. So the next day he calls her because he's going to make the turkey, and they daydream about dancing to NSYNC, and Ryan Popola is freaking out at home right now. He hangs up and then calls Abby's cell and invites her over to try the turkey that he made with the advice from Peggy. She agrees, but is somehow jealous of herself. This is a real mess. She comes over, and the turkey is delightful, so he invites her to join for Christmas dinner. which this is not. This is a trial turkey before.
Classic trial turkey situation. Yes, of course.
The next day, he calls Peggy to let her know that he won't be calling anymore. She tries to tell him who she really is, but it doesn't quite happen. In the final day of Turkey Hotline, they do a countdown. It all ends, and after they shut down for the season, they do an awards ceremony, which I thought was really nice. More jobs should do that. Abby wins the award for Best Newcomer. As she gets up to accept the award, we see Jack walk in. Jack showed up to give Peggy a thank you gift for all of her help. He goes to leave, and she runs after him, and she's like, boy, I'm so sorry. And he's like, who do you think you are? I am. They get into a big fight. He's very upset about this. And she's like, but your name's not even John. And he's like, yes, it is. Devastated, Abby decides that she's just going to go home. She's not going to stay in Chicago, especially after seeing, that Jack fixed the doorknob. Now it's just stuck with her. But she gets a call from her ex-boyfriend, and he's like, come back to work. And she's like, you know what? F off. Also, I want to cook for myself. So she makes some Yorkshire pudding. We all know what it was before this movie. It slays. She says, you know what, the heck with it. I want to bring this to Jack's house. At the same time as she's walking up, he's walking out to go to try to stop her from leaving. They open up about how they both know what they want, and what they want is each other. They kiss, and she comes in for Christmas turkey. And my friends was Holiday Hotline. That's exactly right. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back. We're going to break this movie down with 4 segments here on Deck the Hallmark. Welcome back, everybody. We're talking about Holiday Hotline, the final movie from last weekend. Let's break it down with 4 segments. We're going to start with the hot take, where we share exactly how we felt about this movie. We're going to turn up the temperature, but not too hot. We don't want it to burn.
Just a simmer.
Just a hot take. Yeah. Brian, kick us off. You know how to bake, so this should be easy for you.
So this started off with narration, which I love. Immediately hooked me.
Always good.
Gets me every time. And so from that point on, it was their movie to lose, really. And so I ended up really liking this. It started
their movie to lose.
Yeah, it was up to them.
If they didn't start at narration, it would have been my movie to hate.
My movie. They gotta get me into it. But I was on the hook already. I'm
reminding me of Ghost of Christmas Always in that regard. Early on, like it just kind of pops you immediately and grabs your attention.
Yeah, really did. Then it sort of took its time simmering a little bit for a while. It was kind of slow, but when it all went down, when she realized that what was going on, I was so nervous for her. Like I had to sit back and say, like, am I too invested in this? Like I was, they really, like it worked. It worked.
You were
really,
a real
really
Peggy. Well. You were feeling like a real Peggy in that situation.
That's right. Oh, it was stressful. And I really did not know how they were going to resolve it. Like exactly which way we're going to go here. I think they did a really good job.
What? You didn't know how they were going to resolve. What did you think was going to happen?
I didn't
Peggy
know.
was going to end up with
I didn't know. Many times I thought that she was going to say what's going on, blurt it out, or something would happen with him explaining to her earlier on that he was calling. I don't know. I didn't know exactly how this was going to go down.
Okay.
And they strung it out long enough that I was just like, I was getting like, oh boy, a little anxious here about this, how this is going to go. And I was nervous for her I wanted her to end up good.
If Chris and Never Been Chris can end up with the girl, then I think we all know how this is going to end up.
I don't know how it happens with a Brit. I don't know. You never know.
The good news is she isn't one.
Well, you had me.
Different conversation for a different day.
I liked it. It's up there above the line of the middle for me. Wow, okay. So
above the line of the middle, everybody. Ring the bell.
Ring the line of the middle bell.
V, what'd you think?
I gotta say, I liked it too. I'm not sure if I liked it for the story or if I liked it for the way that they filmed it. Like I loved how just like silly it was that when they would be on the phone, then they would be in the same room next to each other. And I just thought that looked so fun. Her accent was insane. And I was like, this is the silliest thing I've ever heard. I also, in the beginning, they almost lost me because I could not understand why they would dress her boss at the Holiday Hotline like George Santos. was like, I think that we know.
Oh yeah.
That is an iconic.
George actually emailed me and said that is him. He wants
it on the record.
George wants it on the record that he's in a Hallmark
movie. He also won an Academy Award for that performance. They voted last night.
But I found that sort of so distracting that he was dressed exactly like George Santos down to the glasses that I was like, I really hope there's a costume change here because it's so overwhelming to imagine, especially everything that was going on in politics. I was like, did he get out? Is he now in Garland? Like, what's going on with him? But I loved it. I love a good love story. I was joyful, that baby Jessica gets a new mom, and she seemed very willing to replace her dead mom more than other children in other Hallmark films. She was like, no, Dad, let's do this. And I thought it was fun. I love a cooking show. The Secret Ingredients and this are pretty close. They're pretty close. Wow. Secret Ingredient still edges out this one for me, but I love a cooking show.
Oh my goodness. Secret Ingredient stands listening are happy about that.
They're cheering around the world.
Erin Cahill, Manit, you're not going to beat that, but they did get very close. They got very close.
Oh my gosh. Secret Ingredient. Sorry, go ahead.
Secret Ingredient slander.
I love this movie.
Take a breath.
I can't. I
can't, and I won't.
I'm just gonna put it out there now, and then everyone can get mad at me here. This is my favorite movie of the year.
Oh my gosh!
And honestly, it's not even all that close.
What?
Absolutely
better than Santa Summit. You've lost your mind.
Absolutely adored this movie. When she is on the phone and appears in the room. Yeah. For the first time, I about died. I was like, this is freaking cinema. This is how you do it. This is how you tell story. This is what it's all about. I understand that things are tough right now around the world, but if we would all just take a moment and watch Holiday Hotline, maybe everything would just be okay. Maybe we would all just get it. It's amazing. I loved it. My favorite movie of the year, and no one can tell me otherwise. Dan.
Of course we can't, Bran. Of course we can't. Good grief, first of all.
Good luck, Dan.
Yeah, good luck out there. I see the chat already. This movie's not bad. Listen, there are some things about this movie that really do work. The scenes where they're talking on the phone together are great. Eric Atuvle, get more to him later.
Yeah.
Amazing. Steals the show. Great. I think...
Is that George Santos?
Yes.
Yeah.
George Santos.
I think that there's a lot of good things here, and I would consider this a solid Hallmark movie. And I also think I have it second because I had a huge problem with Where Are You Christmas? And so this one is second because I did laugh, and I think the stuff that Brandon adored, I thought they did well. I had a few things that really took me out of it, though. The big one is Emily Tennant's wonderful in this movie. Her American accent is way better than her British accent. And so the problem is that the British accent is passable and the American accent is fantastic.
I quite liked the British accent.
That's Australian.
Hold on.
That's Australian.
Hold on, everyone. Let me get it. Pip, 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 pip,
and perhaps Cockney.
Yeah.
Dale, I gotta be honest with you, quite liked it. Thought it was wonderful. And if I may,
if Bran isn't in season 7 of Peaky Blinders,
I gotta be honest. I don't know if it's possible for there to be two, for someone to win Actor of the Year twice in the same year. She would do it.
So back to what I was saying, which is
pip pip.
The problem is
say it back.
Pip pip.
Thank you.
When Emily Tennant is doing the character's fake accents, it's amazing. Her chemistry with Niall is off the charts. And when she's doing the British accent, which is supposed to be the character's real accent, I am taken out of it because it is clearly an accent. And so the problem is that I just couldn't get as invested with her when she's supposed to be herself. And that was tough for me. And then the second big thing that was tough is they kind of, to me, the movie just kind of bungles the ending of this. The build up to this is fantastic. The scenes where they're talking together on the phone and how they filmed in Brand, you're 100% right, is amazing. But they couldn't quite land the plane on, like in You've Got Mail, like I hoped it was you. Like there's these iconic moments for these movies, and this movie doesn't know whether to make them mad or whether to have her go back to England. And I feel like this movie deserved more of they both find out and they hoped it was each other situation rather than you realize you're the same person situation, which is what we got. And so unfortunately it didn't quite land the plane, and the accent thing did throw me, but there's a lot to like here. And I understand the people that loved it. I don't understand it to Brand's level. I think he's being a little crazy about it, but I understand the love for this. Niall Mater has never been better. The movie is funny. Julie Sherman-Wolf, some of her script, like the humor in her script really pops here. So there's stuff to really enjoy about this movie. This would not have been top 3, maybe not top 5 last year for me. It is 2 for me this year. Santa Summit still, I was very invested in Santa Summit, cared deeply by the end of that movie, loved all the hijinks. The supporting cast in that movie is better than this one. It's better across the board than this movie is. But Holiday Hotline was solid. It was solid. I'll give it number 2.
I think for the amount.
Go ahead, V.
Sorry, V. Hold on. Like the movie. Sorry, V. Go ahead, V. I'm so sorry.
Like the movie. I think for where we were when You've Got Mail came out, right? That was before the launch of Catfish. And really, this woman did catfish him. I wanted Neve and Kim to come out. I wanted there to be a little bit more of a reaction to be like, you catfished me. Like, we know what that means now. And I do think that his reaction could have been a little bit saucier. He was like very butthurt at the end. That's not the kind of hurt I wanted from you. I also wanted her accent to be a little bit more lowbrow. I agree. I think if she did a little bit more like, you got the turkey and Edna, like it'd be a lot funnier if it was a lowbrow accent.
I think there would be, if there was a way to make it where it wasn't a stop. Like the problem is in my opinion, the 2 people that fall in love are Niall and the character, not Niall and the real person. I guess that's the best way to put it is
Lars and the real girl.
I think Niall and Peggy are like, if they get together, this movie's, if they find a way to make that happen against all Christmas odds.
Put a fork in it.
Yes. But the problem is.
Do you think he's ever like, hey, Abby, can you do the voice?
100%. Is Peggy around tonight? That's not weird at all.
Talk American to me.
Peggy to me.
100%. Talk Peggy to me.
Been around the world, do speak the language.
But then she gets jealous of herself again. It's
a whole thing.
You cheated on me with myself. It's time for all the feels. That's where we talk about what in this movie gave us those feels. Brian.
Yeah, all the I guess vignettes, I would call them, of people calling with their problems. Thank you. Yeah. That stuff was great. All that stuff's funny. And a lot of it, I was doing a lot of research on the actual turkey hotline during this movie. And a lot of them are real issues that are listed in like the Wikipedia. So that was really great. But the big, like we said, the standout is George, what's his name? Santos, George.
Eric Atuvle.
He's been a star this year.
He stars.
Two of the top ones.
I'll piggyback on because it's my feels.
He's phenomenal.
This guy's been in the best 2 Hallmark movies of the year. He's hysterical. Yeah. He's so funny in different ways in these 2 movies. Every scene of his counts. He destroys, and it's so funny, and he's so good. He's stealing the show this season.
Yeah, 100%.
Deckie's award voters and nominators, listen up. You got to get this guy a Decky. I want to talk to him. I want to interview him on our show. He's great.
Get him on the pod.
Yeah.
V, what gave you feels while you were watching this?
So a little bit different. I worked in kitchens when I was young. And so when she walks out because he's stolen her recipes, I was like, yes. And so that gave me a lot of feels, is like feminism in the kitchen. And so I felt joyful about that. It was a different kind of feels.
I love it. No, I love it.
Powerful feels.
I had...
Take your Yorkshire pudding elsewhere.
I've never seen Yorkshire pudding. I didn't know. It looks really fun and wonderful.
Thought about making it.
When I saw it, I was like, this looks magical. That a little crust, a nice crust. Yep. Give me a good crust. That was my feels. And also when she shows, but I've already talked about how when she appears for the first time in the room, I don't need to talk about it anymore, but world peace. Let's take a quick break. We'll come back and we'll get to the way, what, and the what, the Hallmark here on Deck the Hallmark.
Brandon, I know we got to move. I meant, and I forgot something in the hot take that was very important because I wanted to shout out, and this had to be a Julie Sherman-Wolf thing. The explanation for why everyone is acting and behaving the way they are is excellent in this movie. Like, no one is just lying because it's easier. Like, everyone is lying for a reason, and it makes sense, and they explain it. And the John Jack thing is explained, and the accent thing is all of it lines up with character motivation. So good on them. Sorry, go ahead.
Good on them.
Yep.
It's time for the Wait What. It's where we talk about what in this movie made us go, wait, what? Brian?
Yeah, when he first calls the hotline, for someone who changes his name because he's talking to a stranger, he gave up an awful lot of personal information.
He didn't change it. He gave his name.
His nickname.
He gave his real name. His real name is John.
Right.
So it's like, yeah, John,
But he said, I'm talking to a stranger. Like, he's like, he protect his identity. Yeah. So he did say that, and then the next breath spilled his beans about his dead wife. And then he's...
You're not my friend. Call me John. Also, have you heard about my dead wife?
It's easier to talk about my dead wife when people call me by the name that my mom gave me. John.
So he's restoring. They say they're restoring apartments. They're in there restoring. But is that this is, I guess, almost a what the Hallmark. Like, that doesn't feel like a thing. Aren't you modernizing and updating and not going into? Isn't that way more costly to restore buildings in big cities? Like, I would think they would be going in there to update and modernize, not restore.
Yeah, if they're trying to keep it all with the original architecture and like all the original flourishes, that the cost of living there has to be
ridiculous
through the roof.
And just the chumminess of the building tenants is great, but there's no way that lasts multiple holidays. Like, that is over after a year, maybe 6 months.
It's the most festive apartment complex of like camaraderie and Christmas spirit.
Once one of those dishes doesn't get returned to the right owner, it's over.
There's just no world. Yeah. I'm sorry. Chicago's just a nicer place than anywhere else in the world.
Must be it.
It's the only thing I can think of. And I love Chicago. It's great.
Anything else?
That's it.
V, anyway, what's for you?
So my wait what was actually in the film that I picked because last year we did Holiday Spectacular, grandmother figure named Margaret, written, by Julie Sherman Wolf. This year, written by Julie Sherman Wolf, grandmother character named Margaret. So I was like, wait, what? This is Under the Desk News is Julie Sherman Wolf Stan account, first of all. So that's that on her. My other wait what was definitely that they didn't seem to miss the mother too much. Yeah. Like, there wasn't a lot of grief from the child surrounding it. She was like, Dad, time to move on. This lady can make Yorkshire pudding. Like, I put her name on the card. I hand wrote it. Get her ass over here. And so I was like, that's a wonderful, I suppose, way for children to grieve, but I don't think accurate at all.
We miss the cooking more than we miss you.
Like mom herself,
when
whatever.
When you weren't cooking, you were a real bee.
Right. Those meals.
Can you make a turkey? That's all I care about. Yeah.
Shout out to Daisy Cottage Cheese.
Shout out. Huge shout out.
Yes. Huge.
They earned it, though.
They earned it. And I got to be honest, we haven't had a ton of product placement this season. I feel like that's kind of the kind of over the way of the old regime, but it's always good when it comes back. Daisy Cottage Cheese.
How much do you think they paid?
I don't know.
They got two. I think the movie facing close-ups.
They got two, and I want to say like the movie was a little longer because of it. They were like, we don't need as many ads because everything's Daisy.
Everything's Daisy
around
it.
There was there's a whole like if you want to make a good cheesecake.
You know how kids love to dig into the fruit and cottage cheese for a snack.
Yeah.
My 7-year-olds go through a bucket of cottage cheese a week. I can tell you that.
I haven't had cottage cheese in a while.
Okay, not to be morbid though, but isn't that the snack that John Benet Ramsey had on Christmas
my
Eve? I'm
gosh.
pretty sure it was fruit and cottage cheese. It was,
That's
you guys.
Under the Desk News.
Yeah.
At Under the Desk News.
Hard hitting.
Daisy's like, we didn't pay for that.
This is not what they need right now.
Promo code DECK at checkout.
We were doing so well.
Daisy
We were doing so well.
cheese,
Daisy
yes.
cottage cheese, everybody.
You invited a journalist on. I was
right.
going to bring up Jean Bonnet.
That's right. There was no way around it. Jean Bonnet was
If
happening.
you get that on your bingo card.
That's
No,
right.
it's not Christmas until we bring up the death of Jean Bonnet.
The nice thing about this Daisy cottage cheese sponsorship is it paid for so many turkeys. This guy is testing turkey on the biggest turkey day of the year. He says, you know what? I'll make my trial turkey for Christmas. I'll make it the Thanksgiving turkey.
Right, yeah.
And then I'll just also make a turkey every Wednesday. We'll call it Turkey Wednesdays. We'll just got to see how things are progressing. This guy bought so many turkeys, architect money, can't hide it.
No,
Can't hide it. You're
hide
buying
that
turkeys
architect
left and
money.
right.
I
Dano?
always say that Thanksgiving meal is the most overrated meal because it's like why don't you make this stuff regularly? Turkey's not some dish that you can't
does.
just. Well,
He
I
heard
stand
you.
corrected because watching this guy make turkey every week
day.
was like, all right, it is apparently a hassle. I'm making my first one ever this Thursday because my kid is determined to have turkey for Thanksgiving, even though I don't like it. And so
Tell everyone how you're doing.
wish me luck. I'll keep you posted.
Actually, it was yesterday. How was it?
It was excellent.
Thank you, Dan.
Good. We were all pretty worried.
Happy Black Friday, everybody.
Yeah, happy Black
Black Friday.
Friday. We know what day it is.
You know what day
yeah,
it
we
is
do.
that this comes out?
Early in the movie, Niall comes home with a giant turkey, puts it on the table beside his daughter, and his daughter looks over and goes, "What's that? Are you kidding me right now? Are you kidding me? Are you 12
she was testing him.
or 2?
See if he knows what it is.
It is like it is couldn't be anything else. Could it be any more turkey than it like she's a foot away and she's like, what is that? It's a turkey.
He's like, did I imagine the conversation we had last night?
They have a talk where he's like, we're gonna do it. I'm gonna make a turkey, and then he's like, hup, boom. What's that?
What's that for?
Come on, man.
It's shrink wrapped into the shape
Of
of
a
a
turkey.
You can
And there's
see
a
the outline
label on
of
the front
leg.
that has to say turkey
Yeah, it
somewhere.
must say turkey somewhere.
It's a bowling ball. It's a new bowling ball I'm trying out.
You know what she never mistakes, though? Daisy cottage cheese.
Never, she wouldn't. Because
You know it, you love it, you want it.
They're
Daisy
not
cottage
as thick and
cheese.
chunky as Daisy is.
I am never getting excited.
I bet you Jean Bonnet had an off-brand. Abby and Niall Mater's character are out on a date, walking around, and there's a beautiful shot of them standing, and there's a wide shot of them, a lot of Christmas lights. Then she realizes she's talking to John from the holiday hotline, and she says, the spice wine, blah, 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 I've got to go. And then she says taxi, and then we get a view of an empty street in Chicago with one taxi that was clearly 10 feet off camera, just going right on up to the front. Like that taxi was waiting for her to call.
Yeah.
No other cars on the street, no cars anywhere. One taxi who just happened to be at the end of his break.
This taxi driver was
yeah.
like, this seems like it's going to be good. Let me see how this plays out.
Yeah. The holiday hotline closes at 2 p.m. sharp. That means if you're in the middle of a turkey emergency, they do not care. He counts it down. He shuts it down. That is, for all the good work they do over a month, it seems to be a real bad way to handle the end of your shift at the holiday hotline. Maybe that's just a me thing. I don't know. Also, it seems as though the manager takes all the calls first. Erica Tovley tends to get all the calls and then send them to all of the people who are working there. And I cannot think of a less efficient way of running a holiday hotline than having one person answering the call for every single person and then going, I know who you need to talk to. It's this person. And because he says, he's like, John's on the line again. I'm going to get you back to Peggy. And then later he gets a call from John and John gives him a message. Is he answering all the phones at once?
I would imagine an operation like that has somebody who wants to answer all of the phones. I mean, I think anywhere you go that's a volunteer job, that's something like that, there's always a volunteer coordinator who's like,
okay,
yep, I have to screen
that's
this.
right.
I have to be in control of this. I don't know that George Santos was that type of person.
Yeah.
Maybe he just likes to pop in and see if he could catch his favorites every so often, quality control, picking up the phone here and there. But it was pretty impressive.
I think he just heard there was a love story afoot and it's like, I'll take over.
Yeah.
I want in on this.
He's not just
sometimes you got
John's
to for the sake
for
of
the
love.
sake of love. And then lastly, the character of Margaret. Maybe this is a What the Hallmark. I'll save it.
Okay, fair enough. It's time for What the Hallmark. It's where we wonder what could have been maybe happened that would give any clarity to any questions that we still have. Brian, what are you still wondering about?
Yeah, so she came because, was it her aunt or her grandmother who went into assisted living? Somebody in her family, right? To open up that apartment for her to come over to stay. So don't they have to empty that out? Like, I feel like they should start packing. Like, I don't think she's staying forever. She was going to go for a month or so, but nobody's packing anything. Like, you gotta move out, right?
Nah.
So like, get going. You got to start putting some stuff away.
Nah, man.
The whole time I'm thinking, when are they going to start packing?
Yeah. V? V, what are you still wondering about?
Mine was definitely like, for being this posh chef, the only thing we ever heard her talk about was making a turkey or a Yorkshire pudding. And I was like, I don't know if you're gonna be able to open a restaurant on that. And then I heard that there's a restaurant, I believe out by you guys, that is just a deviled eggs restaurant. So I thought, you know what? Yeah, that's right. Maybe you could do all different type of Yorkshire pudding and that'd be enough.
Turkey and York.
I would have liked to see, a little more culinary chops, especially since she was in Chicago.
We got the French fry guy. What is it? The French fry?
Mr. Fries Man.
Mr. Fries Man.
There's a restaurant called Mr. Fries Man, and everything comes on a base of French fries.
Mr. Fries Man.
Perfect.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
Dare to dream, everybody.
That's right.
At the beginning of this movie, we see a bunch of different calls. There is one guy who can't get his hockey stick out of the turkey. Yep. Was he trying to fry the turkey using the hockey stick as the holder? Is this an innuendo I don't understand? All possibilities, I don't know, but I do want to know more about that person. Dano?
The character of Margaret says that Abby needs to take her spot on the holiday hotline because she's going to go see her grandkids. Great. But she is literally around all movie long.
She's gone for, I think, just Thanksgiving.
Okay, so why did Abby have to work the entire holiday hotline shift if Margaret loves it so much and misses it so much? If she's back from seeing her grandkids, why is she not back in the saddle doing the calls?
Her replacement was so good she got canned. I don't know.
It doesn't make any, I was curious as to, she's back in town. Yeah. Her grandkids aren't in town. Do the thing that you love to do. Abby was helping you out. I don't understand that at all. No, nobody had anything? All right. I thought maybe I was missing something, but clearly I wasn't.
Maybe because of the love story. She was like, I need to stay on and see this thing out. I don't know.
She saw the love story live, though. The one that was with the British Abby, not the American Peggy.
Yeah.
Maybe that's how she fell in love. We need a part 2
Ooh.
Is really what we need. She could have fallen in love at the turkey hotline and now was like, let me help this poor unfortunate girl with an unusual accent.
She did say she was a magical Christmas fairy, so maybe that's just what she does.
Maybe pops in. Well, the biggest question that I have after watching this,
I had the same question. I know what you're going to ask.
Was there a fight?
Yeah, was there a fight? We don't know.
Unfortunately, you won't be able to hear this, but Victor Webster is here to let us know if there was any fights in this movie. It's time for a fighting chance with Vic Webster.
Fighting chance with Vic Webster. A fighting chance with Vic Webster. Was the fighting in the movie? Did someone get hurt? It's a fighting chance with Vic Webster. A fighting chance with Vic Webster. A fighting chance with Vic Webster. Vic Webster.
I mean, I guess a dance sequence is kind of like an action sequence. So this one gets a pass.
A fighting chance with Vic Webster. Vic Webster.
A pass.
Wow. I like Vic. I like the stash. The stash is new as well.
There was that NSYNC dance. I guess that does work.
Yeah, there was a dance.
V, tell everybody about how they can follow you on the socials and keep up with your daily news updates. Yes?
Daily news updates, political explainers, low bias, lots of joy, good news only on Thursdays. Every Thursday we do good news only at Under the Desk News everywhere that you have social medias, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. Please do follow. We'll have a good fun time through the holiday.
I love it. V, you're the best.
You're the best.
Yeah.
Thanks
so
for
happy
joining
that you came back.
Nothing. Oh, yes, and I'll be back next year, too, because now it's...
That's right, book it.
There are people saying they want V to come on every month.
Yeah, she does a daily... They do a daily news podcast.
They got too much going.
You know what? I would love to come back for Christmas in July because I had such a blast with Christmas in July and Hallmark this past year. I think.
Oh, let's do it. Let's do it.
Put it on the board. Put it on the board. We'll do it. V, the best. Everybody enjoy your Black Friday. Be safe out there, everybody. Yeah. Be safe. Yeah. Until next time, we'll be the first to wish you a Merry Christmas.
Deck the Hallmark is a Bramble Jam podcast. It's produced by Aaron Shea. What? For more information on Deck the Hallmark, you can go to deckthehallmark.com. For more information on the Deck the Hallmark family, you can go to bramblejamplus.com. Deck the Hallmark is presented by Philo TV. For a free trial of Philo, go to philo.tv/DTH.